Welcome to the Red Story. Subscribe if you like it because I like it. I heard the front door open and Alexander's familiar voice drift through the apartment. My curiosity piqued. I set down my laptop and headed to the living room to greet him and his new girlfriend, Evelyn. As I rounded the corner, I caught my first glimpse of her. Petite with fiery red hair and the most striking blue eyes I'd ever seen, Evelyn was a vision. She stood close to Alexander, her delicate hand resting on his arm as he introduced her to the group. "Everyone, this is Evelyn," Alexander said, beaming. "Evelyn, meet the gang." I stepped forward, extending my hand. "Hi, I'm Charlotte, but everyone calls me Lottie. Welcome to our humble abode." Evelyn's smile was warm and genuine as she shook my hand. "It's great to meet you, Lottie. I love your dress." I glanced down at my flowy bohemian dress and grinned. "Thanks. I have a weakness for anything that feels like wearing a cloud." As the others introduced themselves, I couldn't help but wonder if Evelyn knew about our unique living arrangement. The curiosity was palpable in the room, but we'd all silently agreed to keep things under wraps for now. No need to scare her off before she got to know us. "So, Evelyn," I said, plopping down on the couch, "Alexander tells us you're a graphic designer. That must be exciting." She nodded enthusiastically, her eyes lighting up. "Oh, it is. I just finished a project for a local art gallery that was really challenging but so rewarding." As Evelyn spoke about her work, I found myself drawn in by her passion. Her hands moved animatedly, punctuating her words, and I couldn't help but notice how her presence seemed to energize the room. Throughout the evening, we all made a conscious effort to keep things normal. No casual touches, no suggestive comments, just a group of friends hanging out. It felt strange, like we were all holding our breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. At one point, I caught Alexander's eye across the room. He raised an eyebrow, a silent question in his gaze. I gave him a small nod, our wordless communication conveying volumes. Yes, we liked her. Yes, she seemed to fit in well. And yes, we were all dying to know if she'd be joining our little arrangement. As the night wore on, I found myself genuinely enjoying Evelyn's company. She was witty, intelligent, and had a quiet confidence that was utterly charming. I couldn't help but hope that she'd become a more permanent fixture in our lives in more ways than one. That night, I curled up under my quilt, trying to push away the thrill humming just beneath my skin. It wasn't just Evelyn's fiery red hair or her striking blue eyes. It was how she filled our space with her presence. It really stirred something deep within me. As the clock hands slowly inched closer to midnight, I heard muffled sounds seep through the thin walls. Small at first, then unmistakable. Alexander's voice, deep and warm, mingled with Evelyn's soft, breathy sounds. Each one curled through the air, stirring desires I normally kept tucked away. I squeezed my eyes shut, hoping to block out their growing fervor, but with every sound that slipped from Evelyn, the knot inside me coiled tighter. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the curtains, casting a warm glow over my room. I padded to the kitchen, heart a jittery mix of awkwardness and curiosity. Evelyn sat at the kitchen island, stirring a cup of coffee, her hair tousled and cheeks slightly flushed. Alexander leaned against the counter, a casual, satisfied smile on his lips. "Morning, Lottie. Coffee?" Evelyn offered, her blue eyes sparkling in the morning light. "Yeah, thanks," I replied, my voice catching slightly in my throat. As I poured myself a cup, I couldn't help but steal glances at her. Each fleeting look brewed a fresh storm of fantasies in my mind. Her laugh rang out as she recounted a funny story from the night before, and all I could think about was the way her voice had sounded. I found myself imagining what it would be like to be the one making her laugh, the one drawing those sounds from her. Evelyn turned to face me, catching my gaze. "Everything okay?" she asked, concern laced with curiosity. "Yeah, just didn't sleep well," I mumbled, taking a sip of coffee to hide my flushed cheeks. But as I watched her, the desire refused to fade, each moment with her only deepening my intrigue. The next evening, the door clicking shut echoed through the house, signaling Alexander's arrival. He had Evelyn in tow again, her bright blue eyes gleaming with curiosity. The usual bustle was missing. We had the place to ourselves. An electric anticipation hung in the air, and my heart pounded in response. We gathered in the living room, the lamps casting warm pools of light. Alexander wasted no time. "Sit," he instructed, pointing to the couch. Evelyn perched nervously beside him. She peered at me, her expression a mix of excitement and uncertainty. "Charlotte," his voice sharp, cutting through the otherwise quiet room. I moved to the center, positioning myself with deliberate slowness. The silence swelled, and I could almost hear Evelyn's breath catch. Alexander's hand rested possessively on my back, pressing me lightly. "Evelyn," he glanced toward her. "This is what we do here. Watch closely." Her cheeks flushed a vivid red, but there was no mistaking the flicker of intrigue in her eyes. She nodded, her gaze glued to my exposed form. Alexander's presence loomed over us, his control absolute. His hand traced my spine, the roughness of his touch contrasting with the softness of Evelyn. As her confidence grew, so did the intensity of her actions. Later that night, as we lay in a tangle of sheets and limbs, I couldn't help but imagine what it'd be like to introduce Evelyn to the rest of our unique family. My mind raced with possibilities, the dynamics she'd bring, the way others would react to her spirited nature. She'd fit in seamlessly, no doubt about it. The following days saw Evelyn's integration into our household progress more smoothly than I had anticipated. She embraced the lifestyle wholeheartedly, her curiosity a perfect match for the dynamics we had established. Her enthusiasm was infectious. The air in our apartment seemed lighter, more charged with anticipation. One sunny afternoon, I decided it was time to gather everyone for a proper introduction. I couldn't contain my excitement as I led Evelyn into the living room, where the rest of our roommates were waiting. "Everyone, this is Evelyn," I said, beaming. "Evelyn, ye are family." The response was immediate and warm. Evelyn's face lit up, her eyes sparkling as she took in the friendly smiles and curious glances of our unconventional family. Alexander stood beside her, his hand lightly resting on the small of her back as he introduced her to each member of the household. "So, Evelyn," Mark began, leaning back in his chair, "how are you finding it here so far?" "It's been incredible," Evelyn replied, a slight blush color in her cheeks. "I feel like I'm discovering a whole new side of myself." "Well, we're glad to have you," Ben said, flashing a grin. "I've heard great things already." Throughout the conversation, I could see the bond forming between Evelyn and the others. It was as if she'd been a part of our lives for ages. Her perceptive nature, combined with an insatiable curiosity, meant she effortlessly picked up on the subtle cues and dynamics we operated by. A few days later, as I prepped dinner in the kitchen, Evelyn wandered in, a question on her lips. "Charlotte, can I help with anything?" "Sure, grab that cutting board." I nodded toward the counter. "You can help chop the veggies." As we worked, our hands occasionally brushing, I felt a warmth growing between us. It was in these simple, everyday moments that our connection deepened. Evelyn wasn't just a thrilling addition to our intimate moments, but a wonderful companion in our daily lives. "You know, I really appreciate how welcoming everyone has been," Evelyn said softly, carefully slicing a bell pepper. "We're just as thrilled to have you. You bring something special to our home," I replied, smiling her way. "Speaking of which, how do you feel about trying something new tonight?" Evelyn's eyes sparkled with anticipation. "I'm game." By the time the scent of roasted vegetables filled the kitchen, we had devised a plan for the evening. I couldn't help but feel giddy at the thought of what lay ahead. After dinner, I gathered everyone in the living room, Alexander, Mark, Ben, and Eric, all eager and intrigued by the night's possibilities. "Evelyn and I have something special planned for tonight," I announced, drawing curious looks from the group. Evelyn stood beside me, her confidence radiating. "I want to experience everything this family has to offer. I'm ready." With that, the night took on a whole new energy. Under Alexander's gentle instructions, Evelyn explored new sensations and dynamics, each one met with curiosity and excitement. Her ability to adapt and her earnest interest in pleasing those around her were mesmerizing. The way she moved, the way she looked at each of us. It was as if she was bringing new life to our already vibrant arrangements. Watching her, I felt an undeniable connection. My anticipation for the adventures ahead only grew, knowing that with Evelyn, every moment would be unforgettable. From that point onward, Evelyn's presence became an integral part of our daily life. Her laughter echoed through the halls, her touch became a comfort. We all saw it, and her eager curiosity never ceased to amaze. Our household, already rich with its own unique dynamics, found a renewed sense of vitality with Evelyn's arrival. Each interaction with her, whether a casual brush of hands in the kitchen or a more intimate moment, added layers to the tapestry of our unconventional family. As I lay in bed at night, the memories replayed in my mind, filling me with a sense of anticipation for what lay ahead. With Evelyn, every day, every moment, felt like an adventure we were all embarking on together. Psychological evaluation. This narrative explores complex interpersonal dynamics within a non-traditional and highly intimate living arrangement. The story delves into themes of desire, curiosity, and the exploration of personal boundaries. The characters navigate a delicate balance between emotional connections and physical relationships, which can lead to challenges in maintaining healthy communication and mutual respect. Evelyn's integration into the group reflects her willingness to embrace a new lifestyle, but it also raises questions about the potential psychological impact of such an intense and unorthodox environment. The character's ability to maintain clear boundaries, communicate openly, and ensure mutual consent is crucial for the well-being of everyone involved. In this context, it is essential for all participants to engage in continuous self-reflection and dialogue to navigate the complexities of their relationships. Trust, respect, and emotional support are key factors that will determine the long-term sustainability of their unique arrangement.